Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's Abby for those who are new here, and I'm currently a junior at East Carolina University. Today, this has been a long overdue video. I'm going to jump into college advice, and honestly, you guys could take this advice even if you're 20s and out of college. I feel like a lot of it is super important, and I'm just so excited to finally sit down and share this with you guys. Now, without further ado, go grab a drink of your choice. Mine today is a Celsius. I've never had this flavor. A while back I asked you guys to ask me questions over my Instagram, just like what kind of advice you wanted and whatnot, and so I kind of just ran with those. So be sure to go follow at Abby Career on Instagram and TikTok. I feel like those are my two most active social media accounts, and you can kind of keep up with me over there. But let's just hop on into it. Literally, like, this is such a random tangent. I got out of class and I was like, I need to film this. And for me, when I get the urge to film, I cannot do anything else than film. I have so much homework right now, but filming came before all that. I was like, I gotta do it. So, priorities, you know? First up, how to balance school and life in general. I think that's like something all college students really struggle with, because it's the first time you're kind of like on your own. In high school, of course, you know, the bell rang, you went to your next class, you ended at 3 p.m. or whatever, and you went home, did your homework, lived with your family, however that is. For me, it was very different because obviously my parents got a divorce, if you're new here, in 6th grade, and so I kind of felt like I grew up a lot faster, just like going from house to house, and I just kind of had to create my own routine, so I got really good at that. So when I came to school, I still struggled, don't get me wrong, I don't have it down, like I'm not perfect whatsoever, but for me, I just find like trial and error, and my routine changes every semester as your classes are changing, obviously. So just kind of giving yourself grace and finding what works for you. Some people need, you know, the slow mornings. For me, I like to have a good hour when I wake up just to like pray and do my journaling and really focus on me, meditate, listen to worship music, and like drink my coffee, and that's how I like to start my days. Some people it's working out, so really sitting down and realizing and writing down like what you need to kind of live a balanced life is super important. Then you can kind of base your schedule off of that. But no, like, I still don't have it down, and most days like I have a lot on my plate. I'm about to be working 2 jobs, school full-time, and obviously like my social media, creating content is super important to me, as well as my family and friends and church life, so, and clubs I'm involved in. It's a lot, and I know like some people are like, don't put too much on your plate. That's a very good thing, but for me, none of those things I really want to take off my plate. So it's just about balance and finding how I can give enough attention to all those things, and if I can't, giving myself grace that is okay at that time, if that makes any sense. So it's all about trial and error, and just know no one really has it down. Tips for living with roommates. I think it's all about compromise and communication. I feel like those are my 2 number 1 tips. If you don't like something your roommate's not doing, talk about it in a nice way, obviously, and just be like, hey, like, do you mind if we do it this way? Or do you mind if you take out the trash? Whatever it is. I have not had any issues. This is my first time living with girls, and I feel like we all just kind of, for our apartment, it varies from different situations obviously, but for our apartment, I feel like we're really good about, like, if I'm busy one day, someone will do the dishes for me, and vice versa, and we're just like there to help each other out, which I love that system. But I know some other apartments, it's like just do your own dishes and that's that. So I think it really depends, but if you all have like good communication, I feel like it works out great. Last year I lived with John, my roommate. I lived with boys. It was definitely like just out there. I get it. Some people will agree with that. Some people are like, what the heck? But he truly is like my best friend and like a brother to me. And we got so close, and I honestly miss living with him some days, because obviously there's like no drama with guys, and like I loved coming home after getting to hang out with my friends and just like being able to chill and ask him for boy advice. And even when I was down about a boy, I always had like John there to like talk it through. I don't know, it just was super, it was a really good experience, and that I wish everyone got to experience, living with one of their guy best friends. And yeah, so next, post-grad plans. This is like very deep of a question, and to be honest, I still don't have everything figured out, and that is what my number 1 thing is for juniors, even seniors. It's okay not to have everything planned out or not to know exactly what you want to do. For me, my major is communications with a concentration in public relations. That was a whole lot, I know. And there's so much you can do for these like broad majors compared to nursing. Obviously, like there's different types of nursing, but you kind of know, okay, I'm gonna work in a hospital and do this. Where communications, business are so broad that there's so much you can do. And it's probably gonna take trial and error to figure out what you really wanna do. So obviously how your professors tell you internships are key. I'm definitely gonna get one this summer. Doing what? I don't know yet, but take advantage of using your counselors to help you out. Typically you also have a career counselor who is specified to your major. They know, you know, companies and internship opportunities and all of that will kind of fit your realm. So I'm currently setting up a meeting with her, and you can literally go to them and be like, this is kind of where I want to live after college. This is my interest, what I have a passion with, and they can kind of point you in the right direction with companies in that area, which I think is amazing, as well as help you with interview skills and resumes and all that good stuff. So definitely take advantage of that because I feel like it's a lot when you're 20 to kind of figure that out. And I know a lot of like 27, 28-year-olds who still don't know exactly what they want to do. So I think that's just important to give yourself grace, as I always say, and know that it's okay not to know right now because you're just beginning your life. I know some days I'm like, oh my gosh, like I wanted to get married at 25 and this and that, and like unfortunately my plan is not God's plan, and I've been learning that a lot recently. So just chill the F out and what is meant to be will align, and you will eventually figure out what your career is, where you're meant to be, and all of that. But don't stress it right now. Next question is, I'm about to be a freshman. I'm nervous about meeting people and just overall in general, any tips? So I actually have a lot of tips, and these are just general tips for anyone in college. I feel like just general basic tips. So I kind of want to go over these real fast with you guys. Number one, that first month is such a crucial time. Say hi to everyone, push yourself out of your comfort zone. That is how I met my roommate, John. We met in an elevator my freshman year. I was only on campus for 2 weeks because I got sent home because of COVID. So that whole year was kind of wiped out from me, but I met John on an elevator saying hi, and he brought this huge surf bag with a surfboard in it, and it literally looked like a body bag. And I looked at my roommate at the time and I was like, what is that? And so she asked him, and it was just a surfboard. And then we ended up just saying hi, becoming friends, and becoming roommates. Truly never know who you meet and where that could go. So just say hi, and worst comes to worst, they don't say hi back. Whatever, that's their loss. And whatever, if that doesn't turn out to be anything, at least you tried, and you never know. You know? I don't know if that made any sense, but just say hi. Always have a buddy and be safe when you're going out. For here in North Carolina, ALE is basically an undercover cop that hangs out at the bars and tries to get all the underage drinkers. So be careful and never leave your friends, never leave a buddy. Especially like here in Greenville, it is not the safest city. We have a lot of crime, to be honest, sadly. So even if I do have to walk home alone, which I am not proud of saying it, I've had to do it sometimes, I always make sure to just like be on the phone with someone and make sure your friends have your location at all times. But definitely don't walk home alone. Just don't do it. From big sis to you, don't do it. No matter how bad you want to go to bed, just don't. So definitely stay with your friends. Don't go home with anyone you don't know. Obviously, I feel like that's just like common stranger danger. Next, walk around campus and use the space. For me, easy to use campus was the one thing that kind of like made me fall in love with it so much. And we just have such a pretty campus, and I'm so blessed for that. So really, like, I go on walks with my friends sometimes through campus, or just even alone. I like to admire it. I love the small things, I'm not even kidding. But also our library. Like, your library, most libraries have so many different features in it. I know our study rooms literally have like white noise machines. There's different rooms you can rent, like go with your friends. Really try to like push yourself out of your apartment, dorm, whatever, and use those spaces. Or our rec center offers classes like yoga and cycling and HIIT workouts. Literally any kind of class you could want, they offer it for free. So take advantage of those small things because you're not going to have that again in your lifetime, more than likely at least. Join clubs and get involved. I know everyone says that, and it doesn't even have to be within your school. For me, I just like dove back into my faith, and I'm trying to get back on that walk with God. And so I found a church with 2 of my good girlfriends, and then we joined a small group, so I'm meeting people outside of my school, which I think is really cool, and I'm getting more involved in my community, which makes me just feel like 10 times better. So just kind of finding a club that you're passionate about and getting involved in it. You'll meet, number one, more people who are interested in the same things as you, and you never know where that could lead you. Plus, it looks really good on resumes too. This is more just like a general advice. Everything will work out. Don't stress too much. That kind of goes with the whole like career thing. I went from journalism to PR, and I still don't know if that's like exactly what I want to do. I think it is. But for me, I love content creation, and it's kind of bad, guys. Some days I put that before school because that's how much I love it. And as much as I wish I could just like, you know, do that full time right now, I know me getting my degree is so important, and I'm learning so much that's gonna help me with my content creation, hopefully, and all of that. So for me, getting a degree is super important. Even if I want to do content creation after this, that is that, but you never know. I just realized I never really answered my post-grad question. But essentially, right now, I have on the books Charleston. That's where I feel most alive, most at home, where I feel like I can just be myself. And I hope everyone can kind of find that one city or town that makes them feel like that. But at the same time, I've been praying a lot recently, because that is my plan, and I know God has like such a greater plan for me, and so he'll put me in the city I'm meant to be in, with the people I'm meant to be with, and in the job that I'm supposed to be with. So I would love for that to be Charleston, but I'm open to other cities and places, if that makes any sense. Wherever God wants to take me, you know? And I'm not sure what I want to do yet. Recently it's definitely been social media, because I've been so into this for so long, and I feel like I've learned a lot so far with it. So I'd love if I could get a job with social media one day, whether that's working for a company, working for, you know, a small business, but still trying to figure that out, and that's okay. Obviously, finding balance is also very crucial in college, and the sooner you can do it, the better off you'll be. But like I said, I still struggle with it. You cannot prioritize anyone before you. Love yourself before anyone else. I can preach this all day, but when I put everything above myself, for me personally, my mental health just deteriorates, and I fall on my face. So for me, the mental health, like I said, just journaling and like taking that time in the mornings is crucial for that. Just like set me up for the day. It's basically the only hour I do have to myself, so I just think that's super important. Say no to drama. You are no longer in high school, you are no longer in middle school dealing with all that, and what you're gonna realize is a lot of people still are in that state, unfortunately, that immaturity. And I think it's so important to just kind of try not to get involved with it. I hate drama, hence why I lived with guys. But just knowing your worth and standing up for yourself, because you're an adult now, honey. Literally, that's what I wrote in my notes. You're an adult now. So for me personally, if someone's speaking to me in a way, I had a recent circumstance like this where someone just was speaking to me in a way that no one should really be spoken to, when I didn't deserve that kind of treatment. And I literally was like, hey, I'm not gonna be spoken to like that. And that's where I left it at. I didn't try fighting back or any of that, because at the end of the day, you don't really want those people in your life who are gonna speak to you like that, or you can't trust, or whatever. So kind of just looking at the bigger picture and realizing, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna be spoken to like that, and if they want to come back and speak to you in a nicer form, so be it. Be there to listen. But if not, it's not on you. You know what I mean? So just being like handling situations as an adult. Obviously, communication is key again. I hate confrontation, don't get me wrong, but when it's necessary, it's necessary. And like I said, don't take the shiz. If someone can't be a friend, you need to like hand them the door, love them at a distance. And you don't have time for that, especially in college. These are the best 4 years of your life. They're supposed to be the best learning years, the time you can go have fun, and you don't want to absorb that with toxic negative people, number one, or drama. And take the high road when you can. That's what I basically just said. I'm not gonna, you know, cuss back or go off on someone. I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm not gonna really tolerate that. I'm sorry, but that's not gonna work. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. And there's nothing wrong with saying no to anything. So definitely take that piece of advice from a sis to a sis. I got a question about how to deal with boys in college and like the F-boy culture and dating and all of that. I actually got a lot of those questions. And to be honest, I still don't understand boys in college, for one, or boys in general some days. But last year I was a sophomore and it was really my first time on campus because my freshman year I moved back home and like did school online because of COVID and all of that. And so I really hadn't like dated or like tried dating since high school, like my junior year. So it'd been some time. And definitely F-boy culture is a thing. And personally, that's not me. I'm not really the one to like hook up and all of that. And if that is something you do, I don't judge it, you know, like honestly support it, like you go sis. But that's just not for me and what I want personally. And so I ran into a lot of that. And just a lot of people who would use you for like attention, or a lot of boys don't want anything serious in college either, and you kind of have to realize that. So for me, I don't like date to just have fun. I kind of date, I don't want to say like get married necessarily, but I date to like get to know you and stuff. I don't want, you know, just have sleepovers every night type of thing, if you get what I'm putting down. So it was very hard to kind of like find someone like that, and it's still really hard. And some of the things like I've heard guys say to people, like it's crazy, like quite the share of guys, and I'm honestly kind of scared to date now, and I hope no one has to go through some of the things I faced last year. And I probably won't ever really talk about it on here because it's so hard for me to talk about, but I went through it last year with like the whole dating thing and whatnot, and I feel like I kind of dealt with everything under the sun within like 1 year. And then the last situationship I had just was like something I hope a girl never has to go through, and it kind of like turned me away from like dating because it really just like brought me down to my probably the lowest point I've been at in a minute, when a guy uses you like that, without getting too far into depth on it. It really, I don't know. I recently read a quote from Bella Robertson in her new poetry book that's about love, which is so amazing, and I hope every girl gets a chance to read it. And it was basically just saying, when a man's hands that used to love you hurts you, it ruins chances for a new man's hands to love you again, and for you to view it like that. And I just thought she phrased it so beautifully. And I did a lot of healing over the summer and just like finding myself again and all of that. And I met amazing people too, which really helped show me that like, okay, there are guys out there that, you know, aren't gonna use you like that or like hurt you. And I'm still working on it. I feel like it takes time to kind of get over stuff like that, but definitely like put your guard up, protect your heart, and be safe, you know, just be safe, don't be dumb. And also know if something's meant to be, it'll be. Don't fight for it too much. I feel like I got caught up in that a lot too, is it's like, no, like I'm willing to do this even if they'd hurt me like 6 times. But that's just because I have a really big heart and I love so deeply, and like once you come into my life, like, you know, I will care for you and support you and whatever. It takes me a lot to be like F off and go away, but just know like when your time is meant to be as well, like it'll be. And don't put too much pressure on it, because that's when I feel like when you want that so bad and everything, it's not gonna happen because that's your timing. But when you're kind of just living your best life and everything, that's when it comes along. And another piece of advice I've gotten is to focus on finding your bridesmaids and not your groom in college. And I think that's kind of so true. Like, focus on having fun with your friends, and if the guy comes along, so be it. But don't lower your standards or anything. and don't let anyone tell you or force you into doing anything. So that's kind of my advice on that. I think it can also be hard when everyone around you starts dating and getting these relationships, because you're like, why not me? But that goes back to knowing that, like, when it is your time and when your person comes in to your life, it'll work out. And that's that, you know? I hope this advice helped some of you, and let me know if you guys want to see a part 2, or maybe just like an ECU specified one. I could definitely go into depth on that. But I will see you guys very, very soon in another video, and I love you all so, so much.